In this video, I will talk about Alzheimer's disease and aging, how Alzheimer related to aging, and how both Alzheimer and aging can be reversed. So, previous video was a summary of my presentation. Now I will go to more details, and as always, I recommend you to download this presentation as PDF file from the link in the description to get access to sources of information. Probably develop own opinion, because I am not medical professional. This information is not a medical advice. So you decide about what to do, and what works for me maybe not work for you. So let's go to more details. Alzheimer's disease is a progressive brain condition causing memory loss, drop in cognitive abilities, and behavior changes. Alzheimer is the main cause of dementia, affecting 60 to 80% of cases, and it is linked to hearing loss. So interesting that again, other causes of dementia can be too much alcohol or trauma, but Alzheimer is the main cause. Alzheimer also mostly affects those over 65, with estimated 100 million cases by 2050. New cases every year will be 100 million cases. Heart attack, stroke, and then brain infarction and circulatory disorders due to compromised blood flow to the tissues often occur with a series of small strokes, frequently leading to dementia. So again, Alzheimer is related to blood flow, and if you have problem with the vascular diseases, then most probably you will develop this amnesia and Alzheimer's disease. As I mentioned already, it is interesting that hearing loss often precedes the development of dementia. Mainstream medicine lacks a full understanding of the connection between dementia, atherosclerosis, hypertension, and thrombosis, while in my opinion they are all related and they're all signs of aging. So you cannot reverse Alzheimer's disease without reversing of aging, without rejuvenation of your body. So the normal brain is functioning well, and Alzheimer's disease is that you have atrophy of some tissues, and especially cerebral cortex, and damage to your cognitive abilities. Alzheimer's disease is a complex brain condition with various factors that contributing to its development. Current treatment only relieve symptoms of Alzheimer's disease temporarily. Brain changes start many years before the noticeable memory loss, leading to severe symptoms like disorientation and difficulty speaking. Plaques and aggregates of misfolded proteins in the brain are hallmarks of Alzheimer, potentially causing neuron loss. Again, this is official. I just do some review of literature and some official medical opinion. It is not my opinion, I just mention it. Amyloid beta deposits or aggregates build up over the years, leading to cognitive impairment and inflammation. Again, this is official opinion. Despite its prevalence, mainstream medicine lacks a comprehensive understanding of the causes and progression of Alzheimer's disease. Dementia is also linked to the development of atherosclerosis, hypertension, thrombosis, which cause damage to the brain blood vessels. Alzheimer's disease is believed to start with a gradual build-up of this amyloid beta deposits over several years. This is what I was talking just now. And in those who develop Alzheimer's disease and dementia, amyloid silently accumulate in the brain for up to 2 decades before the first signs of confusion and forgetfulness appear. This leads to mild cognitive impairment and chronic inflammation, eventually triggering a more harmful aggregation of altered tau protein, resulting in dementia and death. This again, official opinion. I just make some references to sources of information. But what is interesting, clearing amyloid beta from the brain hasn't proven significantly beneficial for patients, suggesting that it may not be primary process driving the condition of Alzheimer's disease. So it's just coincidence, or it is the cause of Alzheimer's disease, not because of this accumulation of these misfolded proteins. No, but nevertheless, it is dominating viewpoint. This accumulation of these misfolded proteins cause the dysfunction of neurons. Scientists have discovered recently that brain inflammation plays a crucial role in the initiation of disease and can indicate whether cognitively impaired elderly individuals are at the higher risk of developing Alzheimer's disease symptoms. Chronic inflammation and infection are crucial in Alzheimer's disease development, suggesting a connection to viral infections. Some researchers suggest that chronic inflammation may result from persistent viral infections such as herpes viruses or combination of the viruses. So you can read the publications that people discuss and cannot yet understand. Maybe this chronic inflammation is caused by viruses. Antiviral treatment has shown potential for reducing the risk of Alzheimer. Yeah, interesting. Additionally, it's proposed that pathogens from guts may reach the brain if biological barriers in the gut and in brain are compromised. So what we see, and the blood vessels in the brain, they have so-called blood-brain barrier. So, and then we have also glycocalyx layer here, and then we have our brain protected from all these foreign proteins, bacteria, and even viruses to get inside our brain. But yet the glycocalyx can be damaged, as I was talking in previous videos, and then we have this development of neurodegenerative diseases also. So there is a relation between Alzheimer's disease and diabetes type 2. Type 2 diabetes may double the risk of Alzheimer's disease and other forms of dementia. The connections are strong enough that some researchers have begun calling Alzheimer's disease type 3 diabetes and a metabolic disorder. They're getting a little bit closer to the truth, in my opinion. Okay, you can read this publication. According to some studies, the elder people develop diabetes, the earlier people develop diabetes, the greater the risk of Alzheimer's disease. One possible explanation for this link is that both conditions are associated with insulin resistance. Insulin resistance is a condition that leads to the starvation of cells even at high levels of glucose in the blood. It appears that insulin resistance increases the production of amyloid proteins in the brain and can cause damage to blood vessels and nerves. To my opinion, it is a little bit different, but they see that some connection between accumulation of these misfolded proteins and insulin resistance. An alternative perspective on Alzheimer's disease proposes that persistent infection causes both chronic inflammation and amyloid beta plaque accumulation. While short-term inflammation is a natural response to injury and infection, aging is associated with progressively increasing chronic inflammation and cellular senescence. So, okay, they say, okay, maybe it is related to viruses or in some infections, but maybe it is just normal chronic inflammation which are related to aging and cellular senescence. So this inflammation results from the process like accumulation of senescent cells and harmful metabolic byproducts in the tissues. So current Alzheimer's disease treatments only temporarily relieve symptoms because medical professionals have no idea why it is developed, why it cannot be reversed. But I know, I believe that I reversed symptoms of Alzheimer's disease and amnesia, and it works for me. And also, my opinion that it is related to aging, so we have to start rejuvenation to fight the Alzheimer's disease. Okay, let's go. Conventional approaches to preventing these neurodegenerative disorders include exercise, which is absolutely perfect. I do it every next day. Mental stimulation also, yes, important because it improves blood flow in the brain. Stress reduction, yeah, because stress reduction is related to higher blood pressure, and Another, which is again more my opinion, it is so-called balanced diet, which is high in carbohydrates and contains pardon, this my mistake. Not this is high diet which is high in carbohydrates and contains inflammatory foods, not anti-inflammatory, inflammatory foods. It can be anything. It can be like spices, which also create inflammation. Neurons are highly specialized cells. Those function is to maintain connection with other neurons and transmit some signals. They use an enormous amount of energy and oxygen to process information. Interestingly, neurons are unable to use glycolysis, which is a conversion of glucose to lactose in condition of hypoxia. Other cells can do it. Neurons cannot. Interesting. Yeah, so they are so special. So they rely almost exclusively on oxidative phosphorylation in mitochondria to meet energy needs. Condition of hypoxia lead to increased production of reactive oxygen species by mitochondria and to oxidative stress, which is the imbalance between generation and detoxification of this reactive oxygen species. Neurons are particularly susceptible to reactive oxygen species as they have low levels of antioxidants than other cell types. At rest, the greatest portion of energy, it is up to, in estimation, 87% is attributed to neurons in our brain, while glial cells account for only a small fraction, 13%. But again, in condition of hypoxia, they behave different. So neurons contain numerous mitochondria, while glial cells have a high glycolytic capacity. So if there is some shortage of oxygen for glial cells, it's okay. They produce energy by glycolysis. Changes in activity within specific brain areas lead to localized enhancement in blood flow as well as glucose utilization. Brain activity leads to elevated glucose consumption and lactate production by glial cells as opposed to neurons. Okay, these glial cells, they use glucose and produce not efficient energy, but not efficiently. But they also produce lactate, and this lactate can be used, produced lactate and released by glial cells could provide additional substrate for energy generation by neurons, not only glucose, but this lactate. So it is not bad actually, but if neurons have enough oxygen. In neurons, glucose and lactate are metabolized aerobically in mitochondria. Failure to provide oxygen in adequate amounts, even to a small brain area, can have rapid and dramatic consequences. So it is ischemic neuronal death. So neurons are there if there is hypoxia, they just die out. Alternatively, in addition to glucose, ketone bodies can also represent alternative oxidative or substrates for neurons. So ketone bodies are adequate alternative oxidative energy substrates for the brain, and they provide beneficial effects in certain pathological conditions that include epilepsy, but also neurodegenerative diseases such as Alzheimer's disease, as well as in preventing cognitive decline with aging. So again, what to do? You have to produce ketone bodies, and full adaptation to ketonic diet, and it takes time, enhances the availability of ketone bodies and reduces symptoms of Alzheimer's disease. Well, and what is interesting, normally ketone bodies are produced by our liver, but it has been shown that glial cells can produce ketone bodies too. So it's interesting. So if you have in blood some fatty acids, short-chain fatty acids, for example, the glial cells can produce ketone bodies. And then ketone bodies can work for neurons. Neurons need, again, as I said, neurons need a lot of energy, so they're vulnerable to oxidative stress. And blood flow issues arterial stiffness and gut-brain connections are linked to Alzheimer's disease. So the most important ketone bodies is this beta-hydroxybutyrate short molecule. It's easy to get through the brain blood barrier, and if it is produced in liver. So, and actually brain cells work much better on these ketone bodies instead of glucose. Some researchers also found evidence of direct links between Alzheimer's disease and compromised blood flow to the brain due to the stiffening of blood vessels. The stiffening of big arteria and aorta can lead to the transmission of excessive energy impulses of blood pressure to the brain capillaries, causing their damage. Okay, so what is happening? Our aorta with age, our aorta getting stiff, and then we have hypertension, but more than hypertension, these pulses of high blood pressure, they go to capillaries and they can cause their damage. Research suggests that the changes in blood flow, often associated vascular dysfunction, contribute to Alzheimer's disease. So it's a little bit, because I do literature review, it's a little bit not very logical, but okay, you go and you see that many publications on this subject, and then the scientists express their opinion. Okay, then it is somehow related to vascular dysfunction. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Additionally, arterial stiffness is an important risk marker for poor brain aging, and it is associated with dementia and cerebral small vessel disease. Okay, so you see that many publications, scientists indicate that this development of dementia and Alzheimer's disease, it is related to stiffening of blood vessels. Progressive mechanical and structural changes in cerebral arteries are observed in Alzheimer's disease, indicating cerebral vascular deterioration. Yes, overall vascular stiffness and dysfunction play a significant role in the pathogenesis of Alzheimer's disease. Okay, so if we just consider that blood vessels, how these structures, they have smooth muscle cells, but they also have elastin fibers. And elastin fibers, if these fibers are destroyed, then the blood vessels are losing elasticity. So, and then we have, you see that here we have blood-brain area, and then we have glycocalyx, which is protective inside of the blood vessels. Well, what is interesting also, that there is evidence suggesting a link between gut and Alzheimer's disease. The gut microbiome is closely related to neural system function. Yes, it is also some interesting observation. The gut microbiota composition may induce increased permeability of the gut barrier, also called leaky gut syndrome, and activation of the immune system. It leads to systemic inflammation, which is in turn may impair blood-brain barrier and promote neuroinflammation, neural injury, and ultimately neurodegeneration, so the loss of neurons. Additionally, diet and physical activity play a role in Alzheimer's disease development. Emerging evidence indicates that gut microbiota is linked with a leaky blood-brain barrier, as I said, and leaky brain. So again, so you see the connection. Pathogens from the gut deteriorate this blood-brain barrier, because when they are getting pathogens are getting to the blood due to this leaky gut syndrome, then they go with blood, they go to brain, and they deteriorate the blood-brain barrier. So, and it allows bacteria into the brain and promoting oxidative damage in the brain. So, okay, as we see this again structure of the blood vessels, we have this elastin fibers which in large arteries up to 65% of total weight of the wall, of blood vessel wall. And if they are destroyed, then blood vessels are losing elasticity. then we have this hypertension and compromised blood flow. And also what we have, then we have destruction of glycocalyx, and glycocalyx is responsible for dilation of blood vessels. So it's all related to aging. So damage to endothelium caused by high blood glucose level leads to vascular oxidative stress and Alzheimer-related dementia. This again, so you see that people go into details, and they discover interesting facts that damage to the endothelium is related to high blood glucose level, and then it may lead to Alzheimer-related dementia. So what we also know that this garlic and some substances in garlic like S-allyl-cysteine helps to recover the endothelium. So I was doing also this video about the use of garlic to improve blood circulation. It also has been shown that garlic extracts inhibit the formation of these amyloid fibers, destabilize already formed the fibrils, and reduce the deposition of amyloid plaques. So you see, again, everything is, I don't think it is the cause, that accumulation of this amyloid fibers is the cause of Alzheimer's disease, but it is related. So the hypoxia is related to accumulation of amyloid fibers. Oxidative stress and hypoxia, they lead to this misfolded proteins and oxidation of proteins and accumulation of these plaques inside the brain. So therefore, consumption of garlic is considered beneficial for improving memory. It has been shown that also water extracts of garlic can be effective in alleviating Alzheimer's disease. So again, indication that Alzheimer's disease is related to blood flow. If blood flow is compromised, then you have to do something with this. And garlic is helping to recover the glycocalyx layer and cure the damage to the endothelium layer. So, and also improves dilation of blood vessels, so it certainly helps. So also garlic extract inhibits the formation of blood clots, the oxidation of unsaturated fatty acids in low-density lipoproteins, and adhesion of oxidized lipoproteins to the wall of blood vessels. So it's again related to blood vessels. So garlic is very useful, and I make water extracts, and I drink this up to maybe 3 liters a day of some extracts to improve my blood flow in all my tissues. And I see rejuvenation, because again, we are talking about in general that Alzheimer's disease is just one symptom of aging. So to cure the Alzheimer, you have to reverse aging, and it works. In my case, I believe it works. So in this publication, which is 18, the authors report that when using cloves extract, also another substance, I was making a video on it, and then what is interesting, again, number of amyloid fibers in nerve tissues decreased by 90%. Why? Because clove extract works the same, like similar to garlic, and it improves blood flow. And accumulation of these amyloid fibers, the same as Alzheimer's disease, is related to hypoxia and to compromised blood flow. Okay, so this is some substances which are working with L-cysteine. Sorry, it is some in Russian, but okay, don't worry much. But mind that again, some spices are okay to use. Normally, spices are not recommended because they can ignite this inflammation in the gut, and then they increase they can lead to this leaky gut syndrome for a while. But in general, if you use it wisely, it will be okay. It will be okay. So what we have, we have hyperfusion, and cerebral vascular disease. Why? Because of compromised blood flow and hypertension also. To repair the blood-brain barrier, you need magnesium. In particular, magnesium sulfate or Epsom salt helps. So, and it helps for pregnant women, but also it helps to your brain. So I use magnesium sulfate at morning, so it helps, but not only sulfate, other magnesium salts. What else? Endothelium. Endothelium is very important for first for aging, and second for Alzheimer's disease. So if healthy in healthy endothelium, which is the protecting layer in the layer of the cells on the inside of the blood vessels, then everything is fine. And blood, there is no blood clots, no thrombosis, blood flow well, and blood vessels react on and produce nitric oxide to dilate the vessels and to improve blood flow if necessary. But when endothelium is dysfunctional, and in particular glycocalyx is destroyed because of high blood pressure, then we have all this problem, eventually thrombosis, and part of brain can damage it. So as I said, cloves are interesting, they improve blood flow, so it's I use this water-based extracts of cloves and dill seeds and garlic to improve blood flow, and it works. In my opinion, it works. For now, there is no officially accepted cure for Alzheimer's disease. Some researchers propose a connection between metabolic health, insulin resistance, and the development of Alzheimer's disease. Dietary patterns such as high carbohydrates diets have been suggested as potential contributors. It's not only my opinion that so-called balanced diet is actually harmful for you. There are other people who think the same. Some studies suggest that ketogenic diet, which promotes the production of ketones bodies as an alternative energy source, may have neuroprotective and rejuvenating effects and could be beneficial in conditions like Alzheimer's disease. Again, I always tell that in older age, there is no alternative to ketogenic diet. Only what kind of ketogenic diet you have to use, or can it be this very restrictive diet based on only animal fat and animal meat, or maybe other variations of ketogenic diet. This is some details, and I discussed it in my videos. But again, if you reverse aging, you reverse Alzheimer's disease development. Emerging research explores the link between gut and vascular health, microbiome, and neurodegenerative diseases, including the Alzheimer's disease. Again, if you cannot digest protein, animal protein, or it is plant protein, you are in trouble. Okay, so what to do, I was explaining before, but I think it works for me. I'm 66 years old, and rejuvenation works for me, and my muscles grow, and growth of muscles indicates that I can produce proteins, I can digest no, I cannot okay, sorry, I will not go into details now because you will find information in my other videos. But again, as soon as you start to reverse aging, then your memory and cognitive abilities will be improved. This is the connection. Alzheimer's disease is just a symptom of aging. Lifestyle factors such as avoiding foods that may ignite inflammation in the gut. So you using like black pepper or long pepper is probably with food and in cooking, maybe it is not beneficial. So you can use it, but in very modest amount. So you try to understand what is not harmful, because development of this autoimmune diseases is very harmful. It leads to inflammation and all the problem with your brain. So regular exercise, yes, absolutely necessary, because exercise, with I will explaining, it ignites autophagy, it improves blood flow everywhere in all tissues, and it also cognitive stimulation. So if you work on thinking, and you make research, and as I propose, you go reading scientific publications and try to learn about biology, which is not so easy, then yeah, it helps. It helps to think, it helps to keep your brain healthy and well working. So this all considered important for maintaining brain health and lowering the risk of Alzheimer's disease. Yet Alzheimer's disease can be reversed only by your body rejuvenation. So it is not just one disease, it is all related to aging. You reverse aging, you will reverse Alzheimer's disease. You will improve your cognitive abilities. You will improve your IQ. So this has to work so. And I believe again, it is relatively easy to slow down aging. But to reverse aging, it is more efforts, but I believe it works for me. So I just need more time to see large changes. You can go to the references and can read and get more details about this, because it's very interesting subject. But again, aging is the core cause of the Alzheimer's disease, or otherwise Alzheimer's disease is a symptom of aging. Okay, if you was listening this video, thank you for your time. I appreciate it. It's again, but please mind that I am doctor of science and I got PhD in physics and mathematics, so at least I can think logically, and I don't see it in medical professionals, because they what they recommend, it has no logic at all. So this is very strange. Also, I read many scientific publications. If I make a review of the scientific publication and combine the fact and then think how it is logically connected, I'm coming to conclusions, because this is my profession, this is my skill. So then I propose a solution which is based on publications on science, but my conclusions can be very different from medical professionals and from other specialists. So, well, but again, my opinion mostly not coincide with official recommendations. So make your own research. It will help to keep your brain healthy. Yes, and please, I have no support for my project. Of course, I try to benefit from this project myself, and I do it so, and I have many benefits. And but if you want to support this project, please at least you press like and bell button, subscribe to my channel, share this video with your friends. Maybe some of the elderly people already suffering from Alzheimer. You can help them. Okay, you can help them. You can reduce suffering. Unfortunately, I was I didn't go to research when my father developed Alzheimer, so I didn't know what to do. I was zombified by official propaganda, what we are learning from mass media. So I didn't have any idea why it develops. Now I know. Now I know, and so at least it benefits myself. So again, thank you for your support if you watch the video, and have a wonderful day. Ciao, ciao.